Hey everyone, it's Bradley. Welcome back to my channel, Portland Gentleman. It's great to have you with me here today. If it's your first time here, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps the channel out and it helps the video get seen by more eyes. Today's video is a full brew day video on my BrewTools B80pro. This will be a pretty detailed process video. The actual brewing portion, by that meaning, will be kind of extended. Again, it's a BrewTools brew day. This is going to be about a 5.5 gallon finished volume batch. So you'll get to see a BrewTools B80pro on its more minimum size volume, which is always a treat. You may wonder, well, what am I brewing? Well, it's actually another MoreBeers recipe kit. After the last couple I've done, I've been really pleased with them. It takes all the headache out of it for me. I can just find a recipe I like, order it from MoreBeers, they ship it to me, I get it in a day or two, and then I brew it. It's that simple. This one is the Citra Session Pale Ale Kit. It's proven to be quite delicious and simple to brew and easy to make. It's also pretty cost effective. That will be linked below. So without further ado, let's jump into the brew day. Actually, there's one more thing in this. There's some special stuff going on today. I'm using the Troll. I've also got the clean core valves. So stay tuned. Research it, mash it, boil it, ferment it, drink it, analyze it, share it. Home brewing is good. Just like every brew day, I always start out with water chemistry. That is the easiest way to improve your beer. I myself am brewing from reverse osmosis water. You could use spring water or distilled water or buy RO. I have a system here in the brewery, so I have an adequate and ample supply. Here I am just mixing in my water salts. This is an ale profile I pulled out of BrewFather. BrewFather's water science and calculation is actually really good. I have zero complaints about it. And I also do that for sparge water just to make sure everything is as it should be. Sometimes trying to get everything incorporated can be a challenge. I have found the best way is, if you're thinking ahead and planning ahead, is to let everything sit for a period of like 10 or 12 hours overnight. I found in the morning when I come back, everything is ready to go. Here we are looking at this system. Obviously I have the kind of prototype clean core valves that I am thoroughly testing. We're waiting for that water to come up to temperature. Again, I'm overshooting my mash temp by a little bit because that grain is at room temperature when I put it in. This is a look at my current plumbing situation. I'm really happy with this sight glass and the way it kind of presents itself. There we are trying to get to my kind of dough in temperature. We are just about there with 6 kilowatts of power. The B80 just does it. Slamming in the malt pipe with these XL latches. You know, I wonder if I even need the XL latches anymore using the Troll. I may actually take them off. I'm definitely considering it. Here we are doughing in. You'll notice I have bumped the controller down to my mash temperature of 149. It's in mash mode. I have the power limited to 40% in mash mode. I just don't think the system needs more than 3,000 watts roughly to do it, and it's gonna obviously vary that dynamically. Here I am, we're doughing in, and I just get everything mixed in as good as possible. Take your time for this step. It's super critical. And always remember the specialty grains if you're brewing a kit. Don't forget them. They make a big difference. I almost forgot them. I just slammed them there. And we're just gonna stir one more time, and I'll do now one of my favorite steps, especially if I'm producing videos, is a 10-minute mash rest. I'll do that just to let everything sit and kind of amalgamate and let stuff settle out. I am recirculating around the vessel at that point. Here we are dropping on that BrewTools Sparge manifold, and this thing is actually recirculation manifold, excuse me, but it does it all. Here I am adjusting for my recirculation flow on the main valve. Note the position of the valve on the left there. That is the intake valve. And here it is flowing through the system. It's just a little bit of clean water was in there. And then we are recirculating officially. Mash is underway. I assure you the smell is just sweet and delicious and amazing. In just a moment here, I'm going to reach down and I'm going to adjust this down to the level I want. Check out my review of the recirculation manifold. I kind of go through some tips and hits and the way I like to use it best. Just that sweet recirculation on this more or less minimum volume batch in my B80pro. Right here I am using the mash probe. The system in currently available software that isn't beta, you can't actually mash off of that probe temperature. Hopefully that comes to the main unit and the main kind of software, because right now you kind of have to manually watch it. I do find that it is the most effective way because the temperature can vary massively from what's here inside of the vessel and what the actual either of the other temperature probes are picking up. Hopefully that'll come, like I said, soon, but for now, if you want to use it this way, you kind of got to raw dog it, run it manual. I am honestly a manual brewer myself. It keeps me more involved in the process, and it's just something I thoroughly enjoy. Now you'll notice the stuff's starting to clear up a little bit. The wort is looking a little bit better. It's still slightly milky. You'll see here in just a few minutes, there's that change. And it is just crystal clear, and we're getting there. And I love the way this sight glass is presented there on that 45 off the valve. It satisfies me. And here we are, that beautiful golden color. Recirculation, just zero issues here. Full speed, just beautiful. Get ready for a homebrew porn overload. That's right, you heard me. There we are. Temperature is just on point. Like I said, I am regulating manually, but there is that setup, both sight glass. I actually have a third one that I use to monitor what's coming out of the chiller, but that circuit isn't in effect yet. And look at that clarity. It is just something. I'm quite proud of that if you can't tell. Here we are right now. We are approaching mash out at this point, so stuff will get really, really clear. I haven't mentioned and haven't shown it for some reason, but I did stir the mash a couple of times, just gently, make sure everything was mixed up and make sure that I have good kind of distribution throughout the mash tun. Right now I'm taking a sample. This is my favorite way to do it. To use this method, you do have to have the pump off, but I found this is the most effective way to take a sample. No need for an expensive valve, but that little valve does it. And there is that sample of wort. All my pH measurements, we're on target as Brewfather predicted. And there is that heat up for mash out I'm talking about. And the system will blast there. And just look at that. Man, it's sweet. I wanted to give you guys a look at my valve position. This is running through my bypass. Again, I don't put any liquid in that chiller until after the boil or once the boil has started more or less, but that was a look at the bypass. Some hopefully final glimpses of recirculation. It's just, man, I find it satisfying. Am I alone? Does anyone else find it satisfying? And there's that line that drops down to the chiller. I think a flexible line would be more effective. I got a lot of 45s on there. Notice I improvised some feet to hold my B80 on the troll. Definitely the silicone works. Hopefully BrewTools releases something that'll be a little more proper. Here we are hooking up my sparge tank. If you haven't noticed, I'm using my BrewZilla 65 as my sparge water heater. It does a great job. I have the oversized pump on that unit. Here is the troll. It's actually really easy to operate. There isn't a ton of weight in this grain bill, and I'm really avoiding putting myself on camera. It's just not something I love to do, but here we are going up. It would be easier if I wasn't trying to film it, and I got to give it a look and make sure everything's okay, because you never know, but it goes up super easy. The troll really does what it's supposed to do, and especially at this low of a weight, there's really no issue. I overshoot it a little bit, and then I'll back it down off camera just a tiny bit, make sure all my latches are engaged. I do recirculate with the basket lifted for a while. Not sure if this helps or not, and it's time for the sparge now. So that is the sparge right there, just engaged, a nice slow sparge. I'll give it a little turn just to make sure I get stuff distributed. I do this periodically throughout the sparge. Again, I really, really take my time when I'm doing this. And the sparge itself just goes super, super smooth, per usual, with all the kind of modded BrewTools auxiliary items that you can get. It really has made the system much more user-friendly in my opinion. Now it's time, we're done sparging. I'm gonna pull the whole thing up using the troll. This is only my second time using it, and like I said, there's a lot of Bradley to hide from the camera. It's come to my attention that I need a 24mm lens. Man, but those things are just like $1,000. So if you guys are enjoying the video and you wanna really help me get that 24mm lens for a wider angle, like, comment, subscribe helps a ton, share the video, and honestly, if you want, definitely there's a super thanks button. That'll help get me towards that lens. Like I said, a little wider, you'd see even more of me and maybe more of the brew day. And I just dropped it down into my mix tub down there. Everything went smooth and I cannot complain. Now I'm dropping in the Trubinator. Again, dropping it in with the camera in the way makes a splashy, sticky mess. That was undesirable, but nonetheless, it's in there. Ramping up to the boil, stirring in any kind of hot break, just making sure everything is nice and mixed in and amalgamated together. I really do like to make sure I have a good rolling boil. Then I'll back that power down to my boil power level, and I'll actually also throw on the steam hat. But I do, like I said, I let it go for a few minutes. I'm not in a rush. I do have issues with steam in here and condensation. I have no hood or ventilation of the sort, but I definitely make sure I got a good boil. Here we are dropping on that steam hat and the steam condenser. It is a must-have accessory for me. Like I said, you don't really need a lot of extra ventilation with this setup. It works really well. I find it doesn't use a ton of water. I am boiling right now, I believe around 50% power, maybe a little bit less, maybe in the 48% power range. There is the first round of hops going in. That is a ½ ounce of Magnum going in, just kind of a basic everyday hop. One of my favorites though. Everything else is gonna be Citra from here on in. It's 1 ounce at the 10-minute mark we're gonna see next. And boom, just like that, there is an ounce of Citra getting to go in with 10 minutes left in the boil. Again, we're blowing through the boil. There isn't much exciting going on other than my light in there. BrewTools will still waiting for a official bespoke light. Until then, I'll keep using my DIY light. It's now time for the clarifying tablet and yeast nutrient. Again, I wish yeast nutrient was included in the kit. I think it's necessary. There's a look at my valves, and I'm getting ready to start pushing liquid through the counterflow chiller. This is my process for adjusting it. You can see now everything's really flowing really well. Sanitizing that chiller, making sure that there's nothing funky growing in there. I did clean it when I last used it. Now it's time for my flame out addition. This is a relatively large 2 ounce charge of Citra, but still super simple. Blasting that in at 1 minute remaining, and we'll see how that goes, or 0 minute mark. The only other hops in the batch will be dry hops. Stay tuned for that. Now it's time to chill. I do find that it's best to pull the steam hat off when I'm doing that. It just helps it blow off excess heat. I've already begun recirculating and whirlpooling. I didn't let it rest. I just, I'm not chilling at the moment, but I am recirculating through the bypass. And you can see that there. I'm getting ready now. I'm going to start going through the chiller. This is my process. These clean core valves, man, they are, I don't want to say a lot yet about them, but they are quite impressive. Sanitary and other flow kind of attributes that they have really do kind of actually do a lot for the BrewTools system. Another look at my valve configuration and the way I'm running it. That little one on the left with the 90, that's my output valve. I have that packed with Star Sand right now. Here's a look at the chiller in action. My groundwater is pretty warm, about 76 degrees right now. So it's going down, but not as quick as I would like. In the winter months, I'll get a little more speed out of it. And that's kind of the only downfall is chilling. I'm actually fermenting in the FermZilla All Rounder for this little batch. I'm just splashing it in there. I'm not going to bother oxygenating it. Just let it go. This is what I have left. This is kind of my extraction process in the kettle. You can see everything really did clean up quite nicely. Honestly, this brew day, I got a little carried away. The volume, my profile isn't quite accurate yet. It's been a long time since I've brewed a batch this small. I'm not going to share the profile. I definitely came within a point or two of the predicted gravity. My efficiency was really high. You can see here, there's a little bit of trub that will sneak out under the trubinator. It's not going to be perfect. I think some is beneficial or maybe good. There's definitely no hops getting in, and that's my big one. I just don't want hop material in that fermenter at all, and it definitely does that. And like I said, I'm being a little bit aggressive getting all the liquid because I'm greedy. I've spent this much time to brew it. I might as well extract as much as I can out of the brew, and it is just something to behold, all these bits and pieces working together cohesively. In just a moment, I'm going to show you guys one more time the Bradley, we'll call it the Portly push. I'm using CO2 to push material, all that excess work through all my plumbing, through my chiller. Excuse the focus here, but I wanted to catch it on camera. That basically blew out my chiller and the bulk of my plumbing, so I literally wasted as little as I possibly could. Right now I dropped in my favorite wireless hydrometer. I'm using the Cellularscience California yeast. This lease, honestly, man, the price point for this pack is really good. I believe it's a brand that MoreBeers, I don't know for sure. I think they're repackaging someone else's. It doesn't matter. The price point per pack is amazing. This is what's left inside my vessel. It's probably about a quarter gallon of liquid. I didn't strain it. And we moved quickly into fermentation. Literally, I was tired, brew day. This is the next day, and man, this stuff took off so quick. just what you would expect. Fermentation was vigorous and lively, and it really, really moved quite rapidly. The fermentation chamber by Kegland obviously always does a great job. This guy is linked below. I really recommend it. MoreBeers has this on special for $1,000 plus shipping. They don't ship it for free, but man, it is something. Honestly, the all-rounders are really good. If you're in the market for a unit tank, your first one, pick one of these up. It's really cool to be able to see fermentation, the whole process, how active the yeast is. On top of it, you'll notice I have the hop bong. This is an awesome accessory, and we're going to dry hop here in just a minute. All right, it's time to dry hop. The dry hopping charge isn't a huge charge per the recipe. It's actually only an ounce. I had another half an ounce in the freezer. I went ahead and used that just to get it out of the way. And because I figured I went a little over on the volume, I put it, you know, kind of try to put it in. Brewfather doesn't calculate bitterness from dry hops, but man, it does. It definitely does something. For me, this balanced it out in beer, but I don't want to give that away too much. I want to be as honest as I can. I think too many YouTubers act like every brew is perfect, and that's just not reality. And I really want to be honest with you guys and see how I'm using these products and the best way I've found to use them. If you have any pointers, let me know. Right now, I'm demonstrating a CO2 purge. I actually let it purge and settle for about a minute each time. I'm doing it rapidly because I think it looks cool on video, but you get the idea. Purge it, and I just dropped the dry hops in there. It wasn't a huge hopping charge, but you can see they're in there. I let that go for a further about 5 days, and this is kind of my new deal here. This is my right off the tank pour. It'll be an off the tank review when we get into the way this beer tastes, how it looks. I did add some biofline. Literally, this isn't even 24 hours after adding biofine. Right now, my fermentation chamber is dialed in at 37 degrees or 36 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not that cold, but look at this beer. I mean, that's like maybe 15 hours of biofine being thrown in there. It's still really, really kind of young at this point, and it's just something to behold, especially in this MoreBeers glass. Honestly, these MoreBeers glasses, you know, maybe I'm a fanboy, but man, they definitely have the look, and if you like the brand and want to support them, why not pick up a glass? All right, so with that, I'm going to jump in front of the camera. I'm going to start drinking some beers, and we're going to talk all about it, as well as my thoughts on the new BrewTools valves. All right, so before I start whacking down cold ones, first I wanted to talk for a second about Clean Core. This is BrewTools' new bespoke sanitary three-way valve. These guys are prototypes right now that I've got. Don't let them fool you. This is a really, really big deal. It means a lot, quite frankly, if you're brewing with BrewTools. It's also a new design for a brewing valve. Like I said, this has just been made for home brewing. Initially, it's really positive. Everything I'm pretty pleased with them, the way they operate. I like the way they feel. I like how easy they are to clean. I like the enhanced flow. I'm with the cat out of the bag right now. If you're looking at getting one of these, I would do it on the main system center valve first and then go from there. All right, now let's whack down a beer. All right, so here it is. Another quick little focus on this. It's still really, really young. I think it'll clear up fully, but that is it. And it is just, it's magic in a glass. The smell, you just get that Citra hit. It just, the color to me, it looks really good. We're gonna see if it's session strength. I can tell you that it definitely is because I brewed it. Oh man, right off the bat there, big Citra hit, just super, super crispy, super nice, really refreshing. Maybe not ideal for this time of the year as we are in almost middle of October, but yeah, I'll crush through this and so will my friends. So it's really, really good in that instance. You guys want to see more recipe kit brew days? I'm thinking about doing a lot more of them. You want to see more of the process? Maybe I'll highlight the kits themselves. I don't know that I'll make a 20-minute video or a 15-minute video talking about a kit itself. That seems a bit excessive to me, but I can definitely go into more detail. Maybe I can finagle a tour of MoreBeers' facility at some point. I wonder if they'd be up for it. That would be awesome. And just an excuse to do beer stuff is all I need. Crispy and bitter. I suspect it'll get a little bit cleaner in the next couple of days. I wouldn't say that it isn't clean though, but yeah, it's It's really good. I kept it dry hopped for a full 4 days after that, transferring into the keg actually today. So that's 4 days of dry hop. Usually I do 3 or 4. There's no grassy notes that I can detect, and it's good. It's really good. Kit brewing, it's not something to be ashamed of, I don't think. Something I'm gonna do more of, super convenient. And this kit itself is really affordable and honestly a great little beer to brew. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, I've been Bradley. Home brewing is good, and I'll see you real soon. All right, I need to have a glass. Yes, I should pour beer. That would be good. Got the beer burps. It's just a large man in his garage drinking beer and talking to himself. Man, look what my life has come to.